Hello, I'm Heather, and co-host Carden can't be with us today. Welcome to the Bitchy Quill, a podcast where we talk about publishing from a feminist perspective. We also do guest mini interviews, and today we have author Kristie Wolf, who has a release coming out this month, September 18th, which is just a few days away. Too Guarded to Love. Do you have a copy of that book that we can see,
I
Kristie?
do. So I do two covers. I do the traditional man chest cover, and then I do a discreet cover.
Oh, I like it. So if you're wanting to read it on the bus there, it's no big
Yeah, or
deal.
read it at work or something. You don't have
I
to.
love that strategy. Some
Yeah.
people want to show off, hey, I'm reading
Yes, yes.
romance. And
And
other people,
some people like the discreet covers, because they're pretty.
you do that for all your books?
I do. Yeah, I have four books and I've done them for all of my books.
And do you say one sells better than the other? Are they about the same?
Well, for my Project Viper series, I would say they sell about online. The ebook cover is the guy cover. And
Hmm.
so online the guy cover sells better. But when I'm selling direct to bookstores or I'm selling at events, these sell about equally. And
Okay.
I can never guess what kind of day it's going to be. Like this
Okay.
past yesterday at my town's art festival, this guy was the winner. But a few weeks ago at another event, people wanted discrete covers.
That is fascinating. I love that.
And then for
Uh,
this series, for this book, Knife to the Heart, this one sells much better.
And they're so not, I love the covers. They're so
Yeah.
cool. And so I'm seeing a lot of DC in the covers. So
Yep.
they're set in DC.
Yeah, the Project Viper series is set in Washington, D.C. That's where Viper headquarters is.
Okay, awesome. And so where will that book be available?
It will be available on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble, on bookshop.org, on my website.
Okay, so not hard to find.
No, and in multiple bookstores. I'm in about 25 independent bookstores right now throughout the country.
Oh,
And that's
wow.
that's growing.
Well, we love independent bookstores. We want to support independent bookstores, especially independent bookstores that support independent authors, because
Yes,
that's
yes.
actually hard for them. It's hard when independent authors get turned down to be in an indie store. It feels like it should be a good fit, but they're working on a tight situation there, and I get it. They don't have the buying power as the bigger
Yep.
ones do. So when you have a indie bookstore, and if you have some links to local in our area bookstore, that's the DMV area for folks watching. If you want to send me some links to the
I
stores that
will.
are carrying it, I will be happy to include it with your contact information in the
Oh, absolutely.
episode
Thank you.
description
Yes, yes.
so that we can highlight those bookstores because we really love that. We love to support indie bookstores. So
Yeah, on Friday, I'm doing a book signing event, a book release party at Friends to Lovers Bookstore in Alexandria, Virginia.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's
Didn't it
super
like
cute.
burn like shortly after
It
it opened and
did,
it
yes.
reopened?
The original location had a fire, and now she's in a new location.
Well, I'm glad that worked out. My daughter sent me a picture the other day. She says, "Guess where I'm passing?" So she lives over
And
that way. So I was like, "Oh, I got to get over there and check it out because who doesn't love a romance only
right,
bookstore?
it's
That's
it's so
amazing.
cute. And then on Saturday, I'm at Charm City Books in Baltimore, and then on Sunday, I'm at Cupid's Bookshop in Philadelphia.
Oh, you're so
And
lazy, Kristie.
and then
So
the following week, I'm at the Biblio Pub in Roanoke, Virginia. And then in October, I'm at a new bookstore called Sweet Nothings in Baltimore.
there's a new one coming up at Baltimore.
Yes,
Baltimore
yes.
has some great indie
Yeah.
bookstores. Oh
So
my
I'll
gosh.
send you those links. It's very
Yes, please send
exciting.
me all the links. Hopefully I'll get it up before your event, your next event, but because I do have to, process these and then get them up. But yeah, that's so cool. I would love to hear about all those places because Carden and I like to go visit places too and check them out and see what they're about and learn more about all of the local reading, book lovery, bookish stuff in the area.
Great.
So our first question now, normally if Carden were here, we would trade off questions and she would ask the first question and then so on until the end and
I
then
miss
we'd do the book.
Carden. She's so
I
much fun to
know.
hang out with.
I know. She's the best and her smile is like a megawatt smile. So we're really missing it here, but well, when you get your next book comes out, hopefully she won't be having any technical difficulties and we can interview you together for
Great.
another episode later because you're not going anywhere.
No,
You're
I'm
writing a
not.
lot of books. We'll get a
I
chance to talk about another book or the next book in the series too. So how did we meet you is our first question we ask everybody on the mini-sode.
I published my debut novel. This is my first super soldier, Too Dangerous to Love, in October of 2023. And that was on a Thursday. And I think on Saturday, I went to the Right Woman's Book Fest and I was at the table with Maryland romance writers.
Oh, okay,
And
great.
so
Yeah.
that's how I came in contact with you and Carden.
Yeah. I get so something that is hard for Carden and I is the fact that we don't get to meet everybody when during the book fest just because we're so busy
Right.
and we try to go Carden actually try like one of her jobs is to make the rounds. I'm so nervous and managing, any potential problems that I don't get to do that. So it's always her job to kind of go around and say hi to everybody that she gets a chance to, but we still never make it to everybody. So I'm
And
so
I don't
glad you
think
got
I
to
met
come.
either of you that day. And
Aw.
then last
Sorry
last
about that.
August, I know, and I was a newbie author, and so like, I was all nervous.
And that wasn't even that long ago for a newbie. I've been doing this like 2015 was my first book published. So I'm going on 11 years. And I think you're a good model to follow in terms of if you're really all about this and you want to go do weekend after weekend doing
Mhm.
something, you're able to get that rolling and get out there and get your books to be known. And meeting people, like selling a book online is awesome.
Right.
Thank you, everybody who buys a book online. But meeting people who come over to you and say, I'm interested in this book, and they pick it up and they give you money, and you're like, you want to read my book. So it's pretty cool. There's just an element there.
It really is. It's so amazing. So I was at my town, Bel Air, Maryland, has an arts festival every September, and it's gigantic. About 150 vendors, thousands and thousands of people come. It's an all day event, and so I do a lot of events in my town, like craft festivals, or going to the coffee shop, or whoever will have me, I'll go. And I've been telling many people like I'll have the new book for the arts festival, so I made sure I had copies, and it was fantastic to people, to see people coming up and being like, "I'm here for your book. I'm here for your book." So
Oh,
that was wonderful. There's a woman in my town named Debbie, and I once in a while, the Susquehanna Symphony Orchestra, they a few times a year they do concerts, and one of my first book signings, I met an author whose husband is in the orchestra, and she's like, "Hey, they have like a little vendor thing before their Christmas concert this year. Like, do you want to come set up a table? I'll be there." So I did, and I met Debbie, and Debbie bought my debut novel. And then at the next event I went to, Debbie bought my second book, and then at the next event, Debbie bought my third book, and then I thought I'd be seeing Debbie in December at the Christmas concert, and which is going to be hard for me to get to because I have a really tight schedule that day. I have another event, but I was
oh
going to
my
try to
goodness.
make it so I could see Debbie. But Debbie showed up yesterday. She showed up early to get the book, and so now I don't have the pressure of trying to get the book to Debbie at the concert.
We all need a Debbie in our lives to keep us going.
Yes. So I
We
love
just
my Debbies. I have a handful of them, and people who support me. So that's wonderful.
That's amazing. And you just made me think of something that maybe people who aren't authors, this is for the authors in the audience, the romance authors in particular, that having those dual covers, even though you have to get another um, UPC code
Yep.
or
You need a different ISBN.
ISBN number, um, then you can take your spicy romance books to events that are family friendly because they
Yeah.
don't like you to have the chest
Right.
ones
Mhm.
there. So that's actually strategically amazing. You're amazing. So
And thank you. And what I found with Knife to the Heart. So Knife to the Heart is different from the Project Viper series. There's no super soldiers in here. This takes place in Colorado. Um, And so when I'm at events and people come over and I say, like, hey, like, or I just stop the random person and I say, hey, what do you read? Do you read romance? And they say no. And I say, well, what do you read? And they say, well, I like thrillers or I like mystery. And I'm like, put this cover aside. And I'm like, well, this is a romantic thriller. And I tell them all about this. And I have sold this book to people who don't read romance.
Okay. All
And
right.
so that's what the two covers can do for you. So
It's
like
sure.
this one says romance, this
Yeah.
one says thriller, same book, two different audiences.
So if you like thrillers, you like this, and you'll like you like it as a romance as well. So it kind of
Yes.
cross genre. That's
Yes.
awesome. But
And
yeah,
there,
the whole don't bring, shirtless covers is a thing. And when you're doing events, when you're doing a lot of events, you're going to run into that if it's not a romance event or if it's
yeah,
a
exactly. Yep.
yeah. So, well, that's so cool. Well, thanks for that giving us all that tip and that pointer.
The only downside is you have to carry twice as many books.
Yes, that's true. I mean, well, if you're going to a romance event too, though, you're going to get rid of that shirt. The shirtless ones are going to be the top
Yeah, yeah.
sellers. You know your audience at the romance events. It's easy to know that that's what's going to happen. So, the next question is always my question that I ask in our interviews, and it's because it's my favorite question to ask as a reader and as a writer. I always want to know this, and I think a lot of readers want to know this, which is what made you want to become a writer?
Oh, I've been reading romance novels since I was a young teenager, so way too early before I was should have been reading them. I used to steal my mom's Harlequins and read them behind her back, and then finally she was like, "Just here, just I know you're doing it. Let's take it." And then both of my grandmothers were big readers, and they loved their romance novels, Half Naked Pirates, Fabio on the cover, things like that, and I devoured them. And I had always enjoyed reading and I'd always been a good writer. I had trouble with math my entire life, but I could write you an essay on a book I'd never read and get an A. Like,
Okay,
I can,
language skills.
yep, I can BS my way through anything if I can write it out.
I love
And
it.
and so, I told my mom I was, I'm gonna be a romance novelist someday. Took me a long time, but I did it.
All right. And so you have gone from the love of reading romance to now the love of writing
Yep.
romance.
Hmm.
And I could tell nothing's stopping you.
Yep.
You wrote that first one, you're like, that's it. This is my path. This is where I'm going
Yep.
and out of my way.
Yeah.
Love it. I love that energy that you bring to it. That's such a good energy.
Oh, thank you.
Um, well, you kind of might have somewhat answered this question already, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it could be some from when you were younger and some from more recently, which is who or what are your biggest writing influences?
It's hard to say because I don't even remember who I read when I was younger. I don't think I purchased a romance novel until I was in my 20s. Because there was just always stacks of them. The woman who lived upstairs from me would have brown paper garbage bags in her hallway upstairs of Harlequins. And so I would just go upstairs, and if they were out there in the hallway, they were fair game. And I would grab a stack. My grandmother would give them to me. And so I never took any note of the authors. I just read them. And then, I discovered who Nora Roberts was, of course. And Jude Deveraux, Knight in Shining Armor, is my favorite romance novel. I loved Little Women as a kid.
So all of it, like
Yeah, all
across,
of
just
it.
like
Yeah. Uh-huh.
the spicy, the sweet, the
Yeah.
historic, you like
Yeah.
it all. But you have
Um,
like a thriller bent, like the ones that have the one that's coming out more recently. Would you call that one or that's coming out this week actually?
Um, yeah,
Is
well,
that
I say that they're romantic suspense. And
romantic?
then Knife to the Heart is I think that one reads more like a thriller.
You know, those are fun to watch too on like Netflix when they
Yeah.
make a movie like that. I hope that you get some of these made into Netflix so I
And
can
well,
binge
I'm waiting for Netflix to call. And if you see Mr. Netflix, tell him I'm
I
a
like I really like for whatever reason I like a thriller and a mystery about my and suspense about my stories. But if you can throw romance into it too, That's the
Well, the
best.
fun part is, and when I'm in person, this is how I sell my books. I say, they are first and foremost a romance. You are guaranteed your happily ever after. I do not write anything that doesn't have a happily ever after, nor do I read anything that doesn't have an HEA. I say, but they read like action movies.
Love
And
it.
the fun part is I get to take all that adrenaline and intensity that's going on with the external plot and all of the fights and all of the car chases, and I like to blow stuff up. So everything that's blowing up, and then I get to transfer all of that into my character's relationship and the most fun into the sex scenes.
Oh yeah.
And so, it's like we really don't like each other yet, but we just almost died. So,
Well, they say that fear is very bonding, so I can
yes,
see how
yes.
you could. Yes, absolutely.
And I hadn't intended to write romantic suspense. The first two books that I wrote, um, which will never see the light of day unless they get some heavy, heavy editing, were contemporary. And Too Dangerous to Love, this character was supposed to be a contemporary romance novel. He was supposed to be a veteran amputee that maybe had a service dog and he fell in love with the dog's trainer, or maybe he fell in love with his physical therapist. And then in 2016, I was at the New Jersey Romance Writers Convention. I had just finished my second contemporary novel, and I decided I was going to do something with it. And so I explored this whole publishing thing. And I went there and I was listening to an editor talk about what kind of book she was looking for. And she said, I'd love to see something with DNA enhanced soldiers and super smart STEM heroines. So now we have a veteran amputee with a bionic weaponized prosthetic, and he's a human weapon. And he falls for the shy, sheltered, off the charts genius that created him. So from that one sentence that editor said, that's how this book was born. And now I don't know that I'll write anything else. And then I had an editor compare my books to Rebecca Zanetti. And have devoured everything she's ever written. And she's my spirit animal.
Oh,
And so, recent people who have, inspired me, she's definitely one of them.
oh, that's so great. Sound that's the stories sound amazing. And spooky season's coming, and I feel like this kind of book fits in pretty well in spooky
Yeah,
season.
yeah, they
So,
are. They're superheroes. I ask people, are you familiar with Marvel movies? And almost everybody says yes. And I say, well, he's my Bucky Barnes. He's Winter Soldier with the bionic arm, and he's dark and broody, and he just really needs a hug.
aw.
And then let's see. Book two, he has a bionic leg. And then in book three, he has a bionic arm and a bionic leg.
Okay. So, if you like a guy that needs a little hug and he's really tough, that's
Yeah.
definitely your type. What current project are you working on now? Are you taking a break after launching this one that you're launching on the
Yeah.
18th? No,
No, I
no
got a lot of
break.
books in me. There's
I
no
should
time for
have
breaks.
known. I should have known. So what's the what next one?
So I have a book that I started in 2022, and I have about 70,000 words, and I love this book. And I should be working on the prequel to the Project Viper series. That's going to come
Okay.
out in July for my newsletter subscribers, and it's part of an author collaboration. But I want to get this book out, this other book out that I'm working on. So I hired an editor, and I am looking at an early March release.
I love a prequel. Once I really fall in love with characters, please give
Yeah.
me all the prequels.
So in the prequel, we're gonna meet the surgeon who saves his life when he loses his arm.
Oh,
And we meet
okay.
him like briefly in books one and book two. Like he's around a little bit here and there. Um, he's part of the Viper team now, but we're gonna go back and get his love story.
Sometimes it's really nice to take a beloved side character that
Yeah.
was just like, I like this person, I'm putting them in there. They add a little flavor and a little something to the story, and then people are like, "What's going on with this doctor? I want to know more about this
Yep,
doctor."
yep.
And
I
you're
have a
like,
problem with that.
"I
Every time
want
I
to
write
know
a
more
new
about."
Yep. Every time I bring in a new character, I'm like, oh, they need their happily ever after. I guess we're writing another book.
Oh, I love it. So, what this is our last question I'm going to ask you, and usually it's Carden's question, so I don't do it as good as her because I'm not as practiced on it. But what is the best way that readers can support you. Now, we know that, buying your books obviously is a great way to support you, and leaving reviews. These are the two best ways readers can, so I'm speaking to the readers directly right now. These are the two best ways you can help an author, is to buy their book and then to review it. Let me wind that into. It's great to review it if you have something nice to say. And then, what beyond those two things would you say are things that you would love that your readers would do for you? Whether it's maybe you spend a lot of time on Instagram or TikTok,
Right,
maybe
right.
you haven't really gotten in as many libraries as you like. What is the thing that you would like readers to know?
Well, there's a few things. Social media love is always, always welcome and always appreciated. It's a jungle out there. It's so hard to get noticed. And so, just liking, commenting, sharing is fantastic. If you like something, say it. If you like a video. And I love, love, love when people direct message me and say, hey, like, I like what you're doing, even if you haven't read my books, or ask me questions, ask me what my favorite books are, ask me for a recommendation, let me know what you're reading. I'm a reader too.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and
Most of
so,
us are readers.
like I want to know what's good out there. I don't know every single author out there in the world. I only know a handful of them. And so I just like to interact with readers. I love making relationships with bookstores. And so if there are any local bookstores in your area, you send me a note, let me know who they are, or ask them to carry my book, even better.
Uh,
If there's local events going on, let me know about it. I love to travel. I'm going to St. Augustine, Florida, and the first weekend in March to go sign at a bookstore called, I think it's called Get Lit, which I think is adorable. Why? Because they asked me, and I've never been to St. Augustine, and I've always wanted to go. I have family 45 minutes away that I can stay with. Why not?
why not? I
Why
love
not,
it.
right?
I
And
love it.
so yeah, so let me know what's out there beyond, the 50-mile radius of where I live. I want to meet you. I want to know what's going on in your neck of the woods, and I want to meet you and your friends and your readers. Because that is my favorite part of this whole process.
Just meeting all the readers.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that the I because it's so hard to know events that are outside of your immediate region.
Mm-hmm.
People who are, on Eventbrite and live in a, certain radius, they'll get notices when something's going on at the local bookstore, or at the local market or whatever, but we don't know about it. So that's a good way. So, what social media platform are your places that you hang out the most?
Oh, I'm on Instagram, at Kristie Wolf _ author, and TikTok at Kristie Wolf Romance. And I'm on
Okay, and
Facebook
I'll
too.
put the
Well,
links
yeah,
in.
put the
Yeah,
links.
I'll put the links in the.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great. Thank you so much for being on with us today. Well, with me, I feel like I'm missing. I need a bionic arm today.
I hear ya, right?
Missing out on some Carden. Um, so thank you for joining us on the Bitchy Quill. Please look for more episodes where we discuss publishing from a feminist perspective, and our guest minisodes here on YouTube. If you'd like to be a guest on the Bitchy Quill, please email us at the Right Women Book Fest. That's WRITE womenbookfest@gmail.com. And as I said a minute ago, I will put all the links and stuff down in the episode description. And thank you so much for being here with me today. And even though we don't have Carden, we will talk to you again when you get that next book going, because I'm really curious about it, the one from 2022 that you're going to finish.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's gonna be fun.
we'll have you on. The two of us will have you on then.
Great.
Okay.
All
Thank
right. Thank
you.
you so much. It was so wonderful to hang out with you. Bye-bye.